the human condition. He writes, "Civil war in man between reason and passions. If there were only reason without passions, if there were only passions without reason. But since he has both, he cannot be free from war, for he can only be at peace with the one if he is at war with the other. Thus he is always torn by inner divisions and contradictions." So given that this is our dual nature, we have aspirations that we cannot live up to, we have desires that we cannot meet, we are finite, but we are tragically aware of our own finitude, and so it gives us great anxiety because we know that it should not be so and wish that it were not so. And so the only thing we can do for Pascal is diversion, is to distract ourselves. Gambling, hunting, and he makes some really interesting arguments on the nature of diversion and the fact that that's what we're looking for. One of them saying that he talks a lot about gamblers, and he said that if you just gave them their winnings, what they would have won at the morning, and then say, now you can't gamble all day, they'll be very disappointed because what they don't want the money that they're going to win. They want to invest their attention in something that keeps them distracted from the fact that they're going to die and the fact that they're aware that they do not want to die and that there should be a greater grace available for them. The dual nature of man leads to the condition of man, which for Pascal is one of anxiety and boredom. If diversion, however, is not the right response to our divided nature, what is the right response, and where did we get this divided nature from? For Pascal, this is where Christianity shines, and this is his most persuasive and most compelling argument for Christianity. He writes, "Is it not clear as day that man's condition is dual? The point is that if man had never been corrupted, he would, in his innocence, confidently enjoy both truth and felicity. And if man had never been anything but corrupt, he would have no idea either of truth or bliss. But unhappy as we are, and we should be less so if there were no element of greatness in our condition, we have an idea of happiness, but we cannot attain it. We perceive an image of the truth and possess nothing but falsehood, being equally incapable of absolute ignorance and certain knowledge. So obvious is it that we once enjoyed a degree of perfection from which we have unhappily fallen. Let us then conceive that man's condition is dual. Let us conceive that man infinitely transcends man, and that without the aid of faith, he would remain inconceivable to himself. For who cannot see that unless we realize the duality of human nature, we remain invincibly ignorant of the truth about ourselves?" So what he's saying here is that the Christian story of the human condition, one in which we were created originally very good, in the words of Genesis, and then fell from grace in Adam and Eve's fall, and were thus characterized by sin and death and misery, but nonetheless had the offer of grace extended to us through the act of Christ. Only that story can make sense of how we have the concept of happiness and truth, while at the same time being unable to attain it. And only that story allows us to fully reckon with those two truths without giving into total despair, because there is this offer of grace that is given by God that allows us to get back to, in some measure, the truth that we lost in the fall. So by it's revealed, by attesting to the revealed state from which we have fallen, we can understand the massive gap between where we feel like we should be and where we want to be and where we actually are. That is, for Pascal, characteristic of our condition when we're actually paying attention to it and not just being diverted from it. Thus, it is not the existence of God, first and foremost, that Pascal wants to show his readers, but the nature of salvation as the perfect description, the only thing that can offer a true description of our day-to-day lives and the despair that we experience and the hope that we cannot ultimately let go of. He writes, For a religion to be true, it must have known our nature. It must have known its greatness and smallness, and the reason for both. What other religion but Christianity has known this? So it's, in a profound sense, a psychological and anthropological argument for Christianity, not a natural one, not a philosophical one in the Cartesian sense, not a metaphysical one, but one that seeks to hit us where we live, not in the abstract realm of thought, but in the everyday realm of our own experiences of inadequacy, anxiety, and inspiration. Since we're so distracted, however, Pascal can't just present us with an answer, because in order to realize our need for a resolution to the internal tension that characterizes our existence, the civil war that we live in, we have to be confronted with it.